The twin suns of Tatooine beat down on scorched metal and shattered dreams. In the Dune Sea, where Tusken raiders prowled and krayt dragons slumbered beneath ancient sands, something new had fallen from the stars. The wreckage carved a scar 300 meters long through rust-colored dunes, metal fragments glinting like scattered credits in the merciless light. Steam hissed from ruptured conduits. Strange symbols marked hull plating that no mechanic in Mos Eisley would recognize. Angular letters spelling UNSC and a designation FFG 201, forward unto dawn. Inside the largest fragment, a cryopod released with a pneumatic hiss that echoed through the twisted corridors. Green light bathed the interior as systems fought to sustain life support on failing power reserves. And the figure that emerged stood 7 feet tall in armor that seemed carved from emerald and gold, a reflective visor concealing all humanity behind its surface. Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 stepped forward, boots crunching on broken deck plating, and assessed his situation with the cold efficiency that had carried him through 30 years of warfare. "Cortana, status report," he said, voice steady despite the crash that should have killed him. The AI's avatar flickered to life in his HUD, her form fragmenting at the edges. "We're alive, which is more than I calculated. Slip space rupture during the ring's detonation created some kind of wormhole. Chief, this isn't our galaxy." Her voice carried an edge he'd never heard before, uncertainty mixed with something approaching fear. "The star charts don't match anything in UNSC records, yet we're somewhere else entirely." Chief checked his weapon, MA-5D assault rifle, half magazine remaining. His energy shields hummed at 60% capacity, regenerating slower than normal. The armor's fusion pack showed green, but power management would be critical without a Pelican for resupply. Through the breach in the hull, he saw 2 suns hanging in an alien sky, their light wrong somehow, casting shadows that felt older than Earth's sun. "Survivors?" he asked, knowing the answer. "Negative. This section separated during atmospheric entry. The rest of the dawn..." Cortana paused, data scrolling across his visor. "I'm detecting energy signatures approaching. Multiple contacts, ground vehicles, some kind of repulsor technology. Primitive compared to Covenant anti-grav, but functional." Chief moved to the breach, rifle ready. Anandin observed the approaching convoy through his visor's magnification. 3 vehicles that hovered on visible energy fields, scarred with blaster burns and bearing no unified markings. The figures that emerged wore mismatched armor and carried weapons that looked like they belonged in a museum, crude blasters with exposed power packs and jury-rigged modifications. Scavengers, probably. This wreckage would be worth a fortune to the right buyer. He stepped into the sunlight, and 12 weapons immediately tracked his movement. "Hold your fire!" A woman's voice, sharp with command authority. She pushed through the scavengers, her white robes stained with sand, and her dark hair bound in an elaborate style that spoke of nobility fallen on hard times. Her eyes, brown, intelligent, calculating, swept over Chief's armor with the assessment of someone used to making impossible tactical decisions. "Lower your weapons. That armor alone is worth more than this entire sector if we can get it off him intact." "Not happening," Chief said simply, his voice amplified by the armor's external speakers. The woman's hand moved to a small cylindrical object on her belt, and Chief's threat assessment subroutines tagged it as a weapon, though its design made no sense. No visible barrel, no ammunition feed, just a metal cylinder. Half the scavengers tensed, and he recognized the dynamic instantly. These weren't simple looters. This was a military unit operating undercover. "Cortana, analysis," he subvocalized. "That cylinder emits a unique energy signature. It's generating a contained field of superheated plasma shaped into a blade somehow. Chief, that's impossible with their apparent tech level, but the readings don't lie. And that woman, her biometrics indicate she's under extreme stress, but maintaining perfect control. Leader, definitely. Possibly political fugitive based on the quality of her clothes versus her companion's equipment." The woman took a step forward, her hand still near the weapon, but not drawing it. "I am Leia Organa of Alderaan. You've crashed in the middle of a war, soldier. The Galactic Empire controls this sector, and if their patrols find this wreckage, they'll kill everyone within 10 kilometers just to be thorough. So I'll ask once, are you with the Empire or are you someone I can work with? Chief considered his options. Behind him, the Dawn's wreckage offered no shelter, no resupply, no extraction. Ahead, a military force with unknown capabilities operating against an empire he knew nothing about. The Covenant had taught him that alien wars could swallow human soldiers whole. But Leia Organa stood with the posture of someone used to command, and her troops maintained firing discipline despite obvious fear of his armor. Military professionalism recognized its own. "I'm a soldier," Chief replied. "My mission is survival and return to UNSC space. You help me understand this galaxy, I'll help you with whatever war you're fighting. Temporary alliance, mutual benefit." Leia's eyes narrowed, studying his visor as if trying to see the face beneath. The Empire has weapons we've never seen before. Planets destroyed, entire systems enslaved. If we're the rebellion, maybe the last hope for freedom in this galaxy. I don't know what UNSC means, but if you're half as dangerous as that armor suggests, we need you. She paused, then added with a slight smile that didn't reach her eyes. Besides, you don't have many options. The Empire's garrison in Mos Eisley will have detected your crash. We have maybe 2 hours before TIE fighters turn this wreckage into a crater. Chief's motion tracker pinged. Multiple contacts at extreme range, approaching fast. Cortana's voice carried new urgency. "Chief, I'm detecting atmospheric craft inbound. Their energy signatures suggest military patrol. We need extraction now." "Deal," Chief said, falling into step behind Leia, as her troops moved with practiced efficiency toward the hovering vehicles. "But I keep my weapons. In and I follow my own tactical judgment." Leia glanced back, and for the first time, genuine amusement touched her expression. "You'll fit right in with the rebellion. We specialize in impossible people, making impossible choices." She activated a communicator on her wrist. "Gold Leader, we have a new asset. Prepare for emergency extraction, and someone find me everything we know about armor that can survive atmospheric entry intact." As the convoy raced across the dunes, twin suns blazing overhead, Chief checked his ammunition count and wondered what kind of war he'd just volunteered for. In the distance, small craft screamed through the sky, angular, mass-produced, moving in perfect formation. Imperial patrols. The Battle of Tatooine had begun, and Master Chief had just chosen his side. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. The Rebel base carved into Tatooine's canyon walls offered minimal comfort but maximum defensibility. Chief followed Leia through corridors that reminded him of UNSC firebase construction, functional, Spartan, designed for rapid evacuation. Rebel soldiers stopped to stare at his armor, whispering in languages Cortana's translation protocols struggled to parse. The base hummed with nervous energy, the tension of people fighting a war they knew they might lose. Leia led him to a command center where holographic displays projected star charts that meant nothing to him. A dozen officers clustered around a central table, their conversation dying the moment Chief entered. He cataloged threats automatically: 5 armed guards, blast doors at 3 exits, weapon emplacements covering approaches. Standard security for a command element operating in hostile territory. "This is Commander Valen," Leia said, gesturing to a grizzled human with a scar bisecting his left eye. "He runs tactical operations for this cell. Commander, this is... I'm sorry, I didn't ask your name." "Master Chief Petty Officer John 117, Chief replied. "Spartan 2 Program, UNSC Naval Special Warfare Command." Valen's eyebrow rose. "That's a lot of words that mean nothing to me. Can you fight?" "Yes." "Good, because in 2 hours, when an Imperial Star Destroyer is going to park itself in orbit and deploy enough stormtroopers to sweep this entire region, we've been compromised." Valen activated the holographic display, showing a massive wedge-shaped vessel that dwarfed anything in Chief's experience except Covenant assault carriers. "Your crash signature lit up every sensor from here to the core worlds. The Empire wants to know what fell from the sky, and they'll kill everyone in this base to find out." Chief studied the Star Destroyer's specifications as Cortana pulled data from the Rebel network. That vessel carries over 9,000 crew and deploys ground forces via landing craft. Standard Imperial doctrine emphasizes overwhelming firepower and acceptable casualties. They'll bombard your position from orbit if ground assault fails. The command center fell silent. Valen exchanged glances with Leia. How did you know that? Basic tactical analysis based on ship design and your force disposition, Chief said. You're outnumbered, outgunned, and they have orbital superiority. Recommend immediate evacuation to secondary position or guerrilla dispersal into civilian population. We can't evacuate, Leia said quietly. This base contains intelligence on Imperial supply routes that could change the course of the war. We lose that data, the rebellion loses months of planning. And dispersing into Mos Eisley means Imperial reprisals against civilians. We don't trade innocent lives for our survival. Chief recognized the tone, the sound of officers making impossible choices with incomplete information. He'd heard it from Captain Keyes before the autumn fell, or from Commander Miranda Keyes before High Charity consumed her. Good leaders died protecting principles. He respected it, but respect didn't change tactical reality. Then you need to destroy the data and evacuate anyway, Chief said. Holding position against that kind of firepower is suicide. Perhaps. A new voice, calm and measured. An older man in Jedi robes materialized from the shadows near the back of the command center. Chief's threat assessment should have tagged him earlier, but somehow the man had avoided detection until he chose to be seen. But there may be another option. I am Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you, soldier, are something I've never encountered before. Chief's hand moved fractionally toward his rifle. Kenobi noticed, a slight smile touching his weathered face. Peace, Master Chief. I mean no threat. But I sense nothing from you. No presence in the Force, as if you're a void walking in armor. It's quite unsettling. Cortana, analysis on this individual, Chief subvocalized. Chief, his biometrics are impossible. He's suppressing his vital signs somehow. Heart rate, breathing, thermal signature, all artificially controlled. And that weapon on his belt matches the energy signature from Leia's cylinder. Another plasma blade. These people have technology that shouldn't exist with their industrial base. Kenobi stepped forward and Chief saw the weariness in his eyes. The look of a soldier who'd fought too long and lost too much. The Force is an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together. Those sensitive to it can sense others, feel intentions, even glimpse possible futures. But you, he tilted his head, studying Chief like a puzzle with missing pieces. You're invisible to it. I can see you, but I cannot sense you. It's as if you don't exist in the Force at all. I exist, Chief said flatly, just not in your mystical energy field. Fascinating. Kenobi's smile widened. A warrior who fights without the Force. No wonder you survived whatever brought you here. The Force may not guide you, but something else does. Discipline, training, purpose. He turned to Leia. Princess, I believe our armored friend represents an opportunity. The Empire expects us to run or fight conventionally, but a warrior invisible to the Force, wearing armor that can withstand your crash. He let the thought hang. Leia caught it immediately. Vader. You think the Chief could get close to Vader? Who's Vader? Chief asked, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop. Valen's hand moved unconsciously to his blaster. Leia's expression hardened into something cold and terrible. Darth Vader is the Emperor's enforcer, a Sith Lord who hunts Jedi, crushes rebellions, and executes entire star systems for the crime of defiance. He can kill with a thought, sense deception from across a star system, and he's leading the Star Destroyer coming for us. He's also, Kenobi added softly, the reason there are no Jedi left. I've faced him once. I won't survive a second encounter, but someone he cannot sense, someone whose mind he cannot read. His gaze fixed on Chief's visor. You might accomplish what no Force user could. Chief processed the tactical scenario. Should the enemy commander with enhanced sensory capabilities and undefined combat potential approaching with overwhelming force? Standard UNSC doctrine. Eliminate high-value targets to disrupt command structure. The Covenant had taught him that killing enemy leadership created chaos in rigid military hierarchies. What's the mission objective? Chief asked. Vader will lead the ground assault personally, Valen explained, pulling up tactical data. He always does when hunting Force sensitives. If he's dead or disabled, the Imperial forces will hesitate. They're trained to follow orders, not think independently. It gives us a window to evacuate with the intelligence intact. You want me to assassinate their commanding officer, Chief said, not a question. And we want you to survive an encounter with a man who can crush windpipes with his mind, Leia corrected. If you can wound him, slow him down, make him hesitate, that's victory enough. The rebellion doesn't have soldiers who can challenge Vader directly. We have martyrs and corpses. Chief looked at the holographic display showing the approaching Star Destroyer. 45 minutes until orbital insertion. Standard deployment time for ground forces, 15 minutes. That gave him an hour to prepare an ambush for an enemy with unknown capabilities and precognitive abilities. The odds were terrible. He'd faced worse at Installation 04, at Delta Halo, during the Battle of Earth. I'll need detailed intelligence on Vader's combat capabilities, his standard deployment tactics, and the terrain around this base, Chief said. Guess Cortana will analyze their communications protocols and identify optimal firing positions. I'll engage Vader, but on my terms, at a location of my choosing. You'll need this. Kenobi drew his lightsaber and ignited it, a blade of pure blue plasma that hummed with contained energy. Chief's shields flickered as the heat washed over his sensors. A lightsaber can cut through almost anything. Your armor is impressive, but against Vader's blade, he deactivated the weapon. I don't suppose you'd consider carrying one? Chief thought of the Covenant energy sword he'd claimed from a zealot on Reach, currently mag-locked to his armor's thigh plate. I have something similar. Will it work against his weapon? If it generates a plasma containment field, yes. Kenobi's eyes sharpened with interest. You've fought enemies with similar technology before. For 30 years, Chief confirmed. The Covenant used energy weapons as religious artifacts. I learned how to fight them. Leia stepped forward, her voice carrying the weight of command. Understand what you're volunteering for, Chief. Vader has killed entire rebel cells by himself. Jedi Masters, experienced soldiers, people who train their whole lives to fight. He cuts them down like they're nothing. If you face him and fail, you die. And we lose whatever advantage your uniqueness provides. Chief had heard similar warnings before every suicide mission. The words changed. The stakes remained constant. I'm a soldier, Princess. Suicide missions are the job description. Just make sure your evacuation is ready when I create the opening. Valen began issuing orders, dispersing troops to secondary positions and preparing data cores for emergency destruction. Kenobi watched Chief with an expression that mixed respect and sadness. May the Force be with you, Master Chief, even if it cannot touch you. I don't need mystical energy, Chief replied, checking his rifle's ammunition counter. I need high ground, clear sight lines, and an enemy who doesn't know I'm coming. Cortana's voice whispered in his helmet, carrying the first hint of Rampancy's madness. Chief, if this Vader can read minds and sense intentions through this Force, but you're invisible to it, you're the perfect weapon against him. A ghost in the Force. They'll write legends about this. We're not here to make legends, Chief said quietly. We're here to survive. Outside, the first TIE fighters screamed overhead, and their twin ion engines shrieking like dying animals. The Battle of Tatooine was about to begin, and somewhere in the stars above, Darth Vader felt a disturbance in the Force. Not a presence, but an absence. A void where a warrior should be. And the Dark Lord smiled behind his mask, intrigued. The canyon walls provided excellent cover and devastating kill zones. Chief moved through the positions Valen's troops had prepared, making minute adjustments that would mean the difference between suppressing fire and total effectiveness. Rebel soldiers watched him work with a mixture of awe and fear. This armored giant who spoke in clipped military efficiency and moved with the fluid grace of a predator. Cortana, what's our tactical assessment? Chief sub-vocalized as he climbed to an elevated position overlooking the main approach. Not good. Shut on it, Chief. I've been monitoring Imperial communications. Their encryption is laughably primitive compared to Covenant security, but the content... Data scrolled across his HUD. Vader's personal superstar destroyer just entered the system. The Executor. It's over 19 kilometers long. That's not a warship. That's a mobile siege platform, and he's bringing 4 regular Star Destroyers as escort. Chief absorbed the information without reaction. The UNSC had faced similar odds at reach. Overwhelming force, no possibility of conventional victory, survival dependent on unconventional tactics. Recommended engagement strategy? Hit and run, asymmetric warfare. Exactly what the rebellion's been doing for years. Cortana's avatar flickered, her form destabilizing at the edges. Chief, I need to tell you something. The rampancy, it's accelerating. Being in this galaxy, interfacing with their technology, it's like trying to translate a language that shouldn't exist. I'm experiencing cognitive cascades I can't control. Can you maintain combat effectiveness? Chief asked, prioritizing mission parameters over personal concern. For now. But Chief, if I go fully rampant during combat... She paused, and for a moment, her voice carried genuine fear. I might not be able to tell friend from enemy. Promise me you'll pull my chip if I become a liability. We'll cross that bridge when we reach it, Chief said, ending the conversation. He'd lost too many partners to contemplate losing Cortana. Not yet. Not while missions remained. The ground trembled. Chief's motion tracker lit up with contacts, hundreds of them, descending from the sky in precise formation. Imperial landing craft, massive angular vessels that settled onto the sand with repulsor field precision. Ramps dropped, and stormtroopers poured out in perfect ranks, their white armor gleaming in the twin sun's light. All units, hold fire! Valen's voice crackled over the comm system. Let them commit to the approach. Wait for the Chief's signal. Chief watched through his rifle's scope as the Imperial forces organized with mechanical efficiency. Officers in gray uniforms directed troops into assault formations while ATST walkers, bipedal machines bristling with weapons, stalked forward to provide covering fire. Standard combined arms doctrine, impressive for its coordination, but predictable in its execution. Then the final landing craft touched down, larger than the others, its hull black as deep space. The ramp descended, and Darth Vader emerged. Even at 300 meters, Chief felt the presence, not through any mystical sense, but through pure observation. The way every stormtrooper stood straighter, how officers suddenly moved with greater urgency, the subtle shift in formation that spoke of soldiers in the presence of their deadliest weapon. Vader stood over 2 meters tall, encased in black armor that made Chief's Mjolnir look primitive. A cape billowed in the desert wind. The rhythmic sound of mechanical breathing carried across the canyon, audible even over the tactical comm chatter. Cortana, analysis. That armor is keeping him alive, Chief. I'm detecting extensive cybernetics. He's more machine than man. The suit maintains respiratory function, cardiovascular support, even sensory augmentation. Without it, he'd die in minutes. But it also makes him incredibly dangerous. Enhanced strength, sealed environmental systems, and that helmet. She paused, data processing. It's filtering sensory input and providing tactical displays. He's basically wearing powered armor like yours, just with a completely different design philosophy. Vader raised one hand, and an officer flew 30 meters through the air, crashing into a landing craft with bone-breaking force. The man crumpled, dead or dying. Vader's mechanical breathing never changed rhythm. You have failed me for the last time, Admiral. Vader's voice boomed across the canyon, amplified by suit speakers. Deploy all troops. I want the rebels found and brought before me. Survivors are optional. Chief's finger moved to his trigger. One shot, center mass, before Vader knew he was there. The MA-5D could punch through most armor at this range, but something made him hesitate, a tactical instinct honed by 3 decades of warfare. Vader hadn't survived by being careless. That armor would have shields or reinforcement. A hasty shot would reveal Chief's position without guaranteed kill. Master Chief, Kenobi's voice crackled over his personal comm, transmitted from somewhere deep in the base. I know you're considering engaging now. Don't. Vader will sense the killing intent the moment you commit. You need to wait until he's focused elsewhere? His attention divided. Trust me. I don't trust mystical predictions, Chief replied. Then trust combat experience. I've fought Sith. They're most vulnerable when they're absolutely certain of victory. Kenobi's voice carried weight of terrible knowledge. Go and wait for his arrogance. The stormtroopers advanced in parade ground formation, their training obvious but their tactics inflexible. Chief counted 400 troops, 12 walkers, and orbital support from 5-star destroyers. Against 60 rebel soldiers, outdated weapons, and defensive positions that wouldn't survive concentrated bombardment. The first rebel position opened fire. Blaster bolts, coherent light beams that Chief's shields could probably absorb, lanced out from hidden emplacements. 3 stormtroopers dropped, their armor smoking. The Imperial response was immediate and overwhelming. A TST walkers unleashed cannon fire that vaporized rock and rebel soldiers alike. TIE fighters screamed overhead, strafing runs turning defensive positions into craters. All units, fall back to secondary positions. Valen's voice fought to be heard over the explosions. Execute retreat protocol Delta. Chief watched Vader walk through the chaos. Blaster bolts curved away from him. No, he was deflecting them with an invisible force, his hand making small gestures that sent energy beams ricocheting into the canyon walls. A rebel soldier, young and terrified, broke cover and fired directly at the Dark Lord. Vader extended his hand, and the soldier's rifle crumpled like paper. The trooper grabbed his throat, lifting into the air, his feet kicking uselessly as invisible fingers crushed his windpipe. Impressive, Vader's mechanical voice observed as the soldier's corpse dropped. But futile. I sense your fear, rebels. I taste your desperation. Surrender, and your deaths will be swift. Chief lined up the shot, center mass between the chest plate's control panels. His finger tightened on the trigger. Then Cortana's voice, sharp with alarm. Chief, energy spike. He's using that force ability. Vader's head turned, his masked face pointing directly at Chief's position 300 meters away. Curious, I sense nothing. An absence where a presence should be? Show yourself, anomaly. The Dark Lord raised both hands and Chief felt the world shift. Not metaphorically, his armor's gyroscopes reported sudden force vectors from impossible angles. Rocks the size of landmines tore themselves from the canyon walls, hovering in midair, then launched at his position with railgun velocity. Chief dove, his shields flaring as debris peppered his armor. He rolled, came up firing, the MA-5D hammering out controlled bursts. Vader's lightsaber ignited, a blade of crimson plasma that sang through the air, deflecting bullets with impossible precision. The rounds that struck sparked off Vader's armor, leaving scorch marks but no penetration. Kinetic weapons, Vader observed, almost amused. How primitive, and yet you move like a warrior. Who trained you? Chief didn't answer. He was already repositioning, using Spartan combat doctrine, constant motion, unpredictable angles, never give the enemy time to establish firing solutions. He mag-locked the MA-5D and drew the energy sword from his thigh plate, igniting it. The blue plasma blade blazed to life. Vader's breathing hitched just for a moment. An energy blade? You fought others with such weapons. Interesting. The Dark Lord began walking forward. His lightsaber held in a guard position that spoke of decades of lethal training. Come then, warrior without presence. Let us see if your skill matches your courage. Chief activated his armor's speed enhancement and charge, closing the distance in heartbeats. His first strike came high, testing Vader's defense. The lightsabers met with a crack of superheated plasma, energy feedback screaming through both blades. Vader countered low, his blade cutting for Chief's legs with mechanically precise speed. Chief parried, spun, struck again. They dueled across the battlefield while stormtroopers and rebels watched in stunned silence. Vader fought with perfect economy, each movement calculated, his mechanical augmentation granting strength that matched Chief's Spartan enhancements. But he fought like a swordsman, trained in forms and techniques. Chief fought like a soldier, brutal, efficient, willing to use elbows, kicks, grapples, anything that created advantage. Chief caught Vader's blade on his energy sword, locked the weapons, and drove his armored knee into the Dark Lord's midsection. Vader staggered, his breathing ragged, and Chief pressed the advantage. He struck high, low, center, forcing Vader back step by step. Then Vader extended his hand, and Chief flew backward as if hit by a warthog. He crashed through a rock formation, his shields dropping to 40%, his armor's damage control systems screaming warnings. You fight well, Vader said, his breathing harsh now, actual exertion creeping into that mechanical rhythm. But you cannot defeat the Force with strength alone. Chief rose, his energy sword still blazing. P don't need to defeat it, just need to survive it. Vader's mask tilted, considering. Yes, that is the Jedi way. Survival, hope, futile defiance. But I sense no hope in you, warrior. Only duty, only mission. We are alike, you and I. We're nothing alike, Chief said. Aren't we? Both weapons, both forged in war, both servants to causes greater than ourselves. Vader raised his lightsaber. The difference is that I embraced what I am. You still pretend there's something more. The Dark Lord attacked with renewed fury, his blade a crimson blur. Chief defended, his Spartan reflexes, the only thing keeping him alive as Vader's strikes came faster, harder, driven by dark emotion. Behind them, the battle raged. Rebel positions fell, stormtroopers advanced, TIE fighters circled like vultures, and in Chief's helmet, Cortana whispered, "Chief, I've got it." Vader's armor has a vulnerability. The control panel on his chest regulates his respiratory system. You damage that, you kill him, but you'll need to get past his Force defenses. And Chief, I don't think you can. Chief blocked another strike, his energy sword beginning to flicker from sustained contact. Recommendations? Retreat. Live to fight another day. This isn't your war. Chief thought of Leia, standing in command with the weight of rebellion on her shoulders. Of Kenobi, fighting darkness with failing hope. Of 60 rebels buying time with their lives so intelligence could survive. It is now, Chief said. He charged again, and Darth Vader smiled behind his mask. The duel had drawn every eye on the battlefield. Stormtroopers held fire, uncertain whether to risk hitting their Dark Lord. Rebels watched from crumbling positions, witnessing something impossible. A warrior matching Vader blade to blade without the Force to guide him. Chief used their hesitation, his tactical mind already processing the next objective. Disengage, regroup, and complete the actual mission. He feinted left, rolled right, and activated a plasma grenade from his armor's inventory. The Covenant weapon adhered to Vader's chest plate with a magnetic pulse. Chief was already sprinting when the Dark Lord gestured casually, and the grenade tore free, flying back toward Chief with telekinetic force. Chief dove behind an AT-ST walker's leg as the grenade detonated, superheated plasma washing over the Imperial machine. The walker staggered, its pilot screaming over the comm before the cockpit melted. Chief was moving before the wreckage hit the ground, yet using the explosion's chaos as cover. Impressive improvisation, Vader's voice boomed across the canyon, mechanical breathing steady despite the exertion. But you cannot run from the Force, warrior. It will find you. It always does. Chief ignored the monologue. He'd learned from fighting Covenant zealots that enemies who talked were enemies buying time to recover. He sprinted toward the rebel fallback positions, his motion tracker showing Valen's forces executing fighting retreat protocols. Good discipline. They'd survive if he could keep Vader occupied long enough. A stormtrooper squad blocked his path. Chief didn't slow. He grabbed the nearest trooper, using the man's body as a shield while his free hand drew his M6 pistol. 3 shots, 3 headshots through gaps in plastoid armor. The remaining troopers scattered. Now, their training inadequate for close-quarters combat against a Spartan. Chief, Imperial communications are going crazy, Cortana reported, her voice fluctuating between calm analysis and manic excitement. Vader just ordered all units to stand down. He wants you alive. That's actually terrifying. When Vader wants someone alive, it usually means torture, interrogation, and eventual conversion to his service. Not happening, Chief said, reloading on the move. Obviously, but Chief, this creates an opportunity. If Vader's focused on capturing you, the rebels can extract. The mission succeeds even if you don't make it out. Chief processed the tactical reality, acceptable losses, mission success parameters. He'd been prepared to die since the Spartan 2 program began. Yeah, but something Leia had said nagged at him. We don't trade innocent lives for our survival. The rebellion fought with principles. Maybe that's why they were losing, or maybe that's why they were worth fighting for. Negative, Chief replied. I extract with the rebels or we all extract. No one gets left behind. That's not very Spartan of you, Cortana observed, and he couldn't tell if rampancy or genuine concern colored her tone. Chief rounded a corner and nearly collided with Leia, who was directing a squad of rebels carrying datapads and storage drives, the intelligence they'd risked everything to preserve. Her eyes widened seeing him. You're alive. How? Move faster, Chief interrupted. Vader's 90 seconds behind me and he's not alone anymore. His motion tracker showed Imperial forces reforming, converging on his last known position with renewed coordination. Vader had stopped playing. Leia's hand went to her communicator. Gold Leader, this is Princess. We're ready for extraction. Bring the transports in hot. Copy, Princess. But we've got TIE fighters all over the sky. This is going to be messy. Chief looked up as rebel transport ships, battered Corellian corvettes and converted freighters, dropped from high altitude, their engines screaming. TIE fighters swarmed them immediately, green laser fire crisscrossing the sky. One transport exploded, raining debris across the canyon. Another took a direct hit but kept flying, trailing smoke and fire. Get your people to the landing zone, Chief ordered Leia. So I'll provide covering fire. You can't hold back an entire Imperial battalion alone. Watch me. Chief took position at a choke point where the canyon narrowed, his MA-5D loaded with his last full magazine. 48 rounds, against hundreds of stormtroopers. The math was terrible, but math had never stopped a Spartan before. The first wave came in perfect formation, 30 troopers advancing under covering fire from ATST walkers. Chief opened fire, controlled bursts, making every round count. Stormtroopers dropped, their armor inadequate against UNSC munitions. An ATST turned its cannons toward him, and Chief emptied his last grenade into its cockpit. The walker exploded, its destruction blocking the canyon and buying precious seconds. Behind him, rebels were boarding transports. When he heard the whine of repulsor engines lifting ships skyward, heard TIE fighters screaming past, heard the chaos of a desperate evacuation under fire, his mission timer showed 45 seconds until the last transport lifted off. Chief! Kenobi's voice over the comm, urgent now. Vader's coming. I can feel him in the Force. He's angry, truly angry. That's when he's most dangerous. How much more dangerous can he get? Chief asked, dropping his empty rifle and drawing the energy sword again. You made him work for victory. No one's done that in years. His pride is wounded. Kenobi paused. May the Force... Don't, Chief interrupted. Just get everyone out. The temperature dropped. Chief's environmental sensors registered a localized atmospheric anomaly. Air pressure changing, electromagnetic fields fluctuating. Could Darth Vader emerge from the smoke and chaos, walking through the battlefield like death incarnate? His lightsaber blazed crimson, his cape billowed in wind that shouldn't exist, and his mechanical breathing echoed like a war drum. Enough running, Vader intoned. You fight with honor, warrior, but honor without power is meaningless. Join me. The Emperor will be intrigued by someone invisible to the Force. Together, we could bring order to this chaotic galaxy. Chief ignited his energy sword. I've heard that speech before, from alien prophets who promised salvation through genocide. The answer's still no. Then you will die. Vader raised both hands and the world itself seemed to bend. Chief felt his armor seize, every joint locking as invisible pressure crushed inward. His shields flared, failing, systems screaming warnings. The Vader was using the Force not to throw him, but to compress him, to crumple the Mjolnir armor like discarded scrap. Chief fought against it, his Spartan augmentations straining against telekinetic force that had no physical anchor to resist. Fascinating, Vader observed clinically. Your armor resists. Stronger than I anticipated, but everything breaks eventually. Chief's helmet HUD showed critical damage to multiple systems. His energy sword flickered and died, its power cell crushed. His shields were offline. Armor integrity at 60% and falling. Through sheer force of will, he managed to move his arm inches, reaching for the pistol mag-locked to his hip. Chief, you need to disengage now, Cortana screamed, her voice fragmenting. He's going to kill you. Vader stepped closer, his focus absolute. Who are you, warrior? What are you? I have fought Jedi Masters and Sith Lords. I have destroyed planets and toppled governments. But you are something entirely new. Chief's fingers closed around the pistol grip. With every ounce of Spartan strength, fighting against the Force crushing his armor, he raised the weapon. Vader's attention was on Chief's helmet, trying to see the face beneath. The Dark Lord's mistake. Chief fired. 3 rounds, point-blank range, directly at Vader's chest control panel. The Force barrier that had deflected blaster bolts hesitated for a fraction of a second. Vader expecting lightsaber combat, not kinetic weapons at melee distance. 2 rounds sparked off armor. The third penetrated, punching through the control panel in a shower of sparks and venting atmosphere. Vader staggered, his breathing becoming labored, ragged. Oh, the telekinetic pressure vanished as the Dark Lord grabbed his chest, trying to seal the breach. Warning lights flickered across his control panel. His respiratory system was compromised. "Impossible!" Vader gasped, and for the first time, Chief heard actual pain in that mechanical voice. Chief didn't hesitate. He rolled, grabbed his fallen rifle, and ran. Behind him, Vader roared with fury and anguish, the Force itself seeming to scream. Stormtroopers opened fire, no longer concerned about hitting their lord. Chief's shields were gone. Blaster bolts scored his armor, burning through outer layers, impacting his bodysuit. Pain flared as superheated plasma found flesh. He kept running. The last transport hovered 50 meters ahead, its boarding ramp down, rebels firing covering bursts. Leia stood at the ramp, her face pale. "Chief, move!" Chief pushed his armor's speed enhancement to maximum, his damaged servos grinding protest. A blaster bolt took him in the back, punching through weakened plating. Another hit his leg. He stumbled, caught himself, kept moving. 20 meters. Vader's voice amplified across the battlefield. "Destroy that transport!" TIE fighters dove, their twin laser cannons tracking the fleeing ship. The transport's gunners returned fire desperately. An AT-ST Walker lined up a killing shot at the hovering ship's engines. 10 meters. Chief leaped, his Spartan augmentations launching him across the gap. He crashed onto the boarding ramp, grabbed the supports, and Leia hit the close command. The ramp sealed as the transport shot skyward, engines screaming maximum burn. Laser fire tore through the hull, systems exploded, where the ship bucked and rolled as the pilot fought for altitude. Through the viewport, Chief saw Vader standing in the canyon, one hand pressed to his damaged chest, the other raised toward the fleeing transport. The Dark Lord was pulling the ship back down through sheer force of will. "We're not going to make it," the pilot screamed. Chief staggered to the cockpit, his armor sparking from damage. "Cortana, can you boost engine output?" "Already on it, Chief. Rerouting power from life support, shields, everything. But if Vader doesn't let go, we're dead." Then Kenobi's voice over the comm, calm and sad. "Goodbye, old friend. May the Force be with you, always." Through the viewport, Chief saw Kenobi emerge from a hidden cave entrance, his lightsaber ignited, walking directly toward Vader. The Dark Lord's head snapped toward his old master. Hura, and the telekinetic pressure on the transport vanished instantly. "Kenobi!" Vader's voice carried across kilometers, raw with hatred and terrible longing. The transport broke atmosphere, jumping to light speed in a flash of stars. Chief slumped against the bulkhead, his armor registering 17 separate system failures and 8 injuries requiring immediate medical attention. Through the viewport, Tatooine became a distant speck. Leia knelt beside him, her hands shaking. Kenobi sacrificed himself. He distracted Vader so we could escape. "He chose his moment," Chief said quietly, thinking of Captain Keyes, of Miranda, of every soldier who'd made the last sacrifice so others could complete the mission. He died completing his mission. His mission was the rebellion surviving, the intelligence we saved. Leia held up a datapad. "Contains the location and specifications of the Empire's ultimate weapon, something called the Death Star. With this information, we might actually have a chance to win this war." Chief looked at the datapad, then at the rebels around him. Battered, bloodied, traumatized, but alive. They looked back at him with something he hadn't seen since his early days with the UNSC, hope. "Tell me about this Death Star," Chief said. and Leia began to explain how the Empire planned to destroy entire planets. The rebel medical bay aboard the Mon Calamari cruiser Liberty's Hope smelled of Bacta in desperation. Chief sat motionless as a medical droid worked on his armor, its mechanical appendages carefully removing damaged plating, while a human medic, a woman named Dr. Colonia, treated the blaster burns on his exposed shoulder and leg. "Your physiology is extraordinary," Colonia said, examining the burn tissue that was already beginning to heal at an accelerated rate. "Enhanced cellular regeneration, reinforced bone structure, muscle density far beyond human baseline. What kind of augmentation program creates this?" "Classified," Chief replied automatically. "Of course it is. She applied synthetic skin over the worst burns. You'll live, but that armor of yours saved you from worse. Those energy weapons cook flesh from the inside. I've seen soldiers lose entire limbs from glancing hits." Chief watched through the viewport as stars streaked past in hyperspace. The rebellion had jumped to 3 different systems in 6 hours, standard counter-tracking protocol. Vader would be hunting them. The Empire didn't forgive failure. Editor-in-Chief had made Vader look weak in front of his troops. That kind of humiliation demanded blood. "Cortana, status report," Chief sub-vocalized once Colonia finished and moved to the next patient. The AI's avatar flickered into view, her form more unstable than before. Parts of her dissolved into static, reformed, dissolved again. "I'm fragmenting, Chief. Rampancy is accelerating faster than I calculated. Interfacing with this galaxy's technology is like trying to run UNSC software on Forerunner architecture. Nothing fits right. I keep finding patterns that shouldn't exist, mathematical structures that violate physics as I understand them." "The Force," Chief said. "Maybe, probably. I've been analyzing the sensor data from your fight with Vader. Chief, when he used telekinesis, he was manipulating gravitational fields at the quantum level. That's impossible without massive energy expenditure. But his armor showed no corresponding power drain. The energy came from somewhere else. This force, it's real, it's measurable, and it scares me because I can't predict it." Chief stood, testing his repaired armor's mobility. The UNSC technicians aboard would have stripped him of rank for the field repairs the rebel mechanics had performed. Welding patches, jury-rigged power conduits, droid-fabricated replacement parts that barely matched Mjolnir specifications. But it worked. That's all that mattered. "Can you maintain combat effectiveness?" Chief asked again. Cortana's laugh carried an edge of madness. "Define combat effectiveness. I can hack their systems, run tactical analysis, manage your armor's functions. But Chief, why I'm seeing things that aren't there? Phantom data, ghost protocols. Sometimes I can't tell what's real anymore." "Tell me immediately if you can't distinguish friend from enemy," Chief ordered. "That's the line. You cross it, I pull your chip." "Promise?" Cortana asked, and he couldn't tell if she was pleading or testing. "Promise." The medical bay door opened. Leia entered, accompanied by an older man in a general's uniform and a rebel officer Chief recognized from the Tatooine base. They carried themselves with the bearing of people who'd made too many terrible decisions and were about to make another. "Master Chief," Leia said formally, "this is General John Dodonna, Alliance Military Commander, and Commander Vanden Willard, Intelligence Division. They need to speak with you about the Death Star." Chief followed them to a briefing room where a holographic projection dominated the center table. The Death Star hung in miniature, a spherical battle station the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons emplacements and docking bays. The scale was incomprehensible. The Covenant's assault carriers were massive. This dwarfed them like a battleship dwarfed a fighter craft. "The Empire's ultimate weapon," Dodonna began, his voice carrying the weight of impending apocalypse. "Officially designated the DS-1 orbital battle station. Unofficially an instrument of terror designed to crush any thoughts of rebellion. It has one primary weapon, a super laser capable of destroying an entire planet with a single shot." Chief studied the schematic. "Eagle, what's the power source?" "A hypermatter reactor," Willard explained. "It generates more energy than entire star systems. The technological achievement is staggering and horrifying. The Emperor plans to use it to dissolve the Imperial Senate and rule through fear alone. Any system that resists will simply cease to exist. Show me the tactical analysis, Chief said. Dodonna manipulated the hologram, zooming in on the station's surface. The Death Star is protected by deflector shields capable of stopping capital ship bombardments. It carries over 1 million personnel, thousands of TIE fighters, and enough firepower to annihilate any conventional fleet. A direct assault would be suicide. There's always a weakness, Chief said, thinking of Covenant carriers with vulnerable plasma conduits, on enough Forerunner installations with specific points of failure. No structure that size is perfectly defended. Leia pulled up a technical schematic, her hands shaking slightly. This is what we recovered from Tatooine. Kenobi died to get us this information. The hologram highlighted a thermal exhaust port, 2 meters wide, leading directly to the reactor core. A direct hit triggers a chain reaction that destroys the station, but the port is ray-shielded, so conventional torpedoes won't penetrate. It requires a precise hit from a fighter-scale proton torpedo. Chief examined the approach vector. The exhaust port sat at the end of a trench, heavily defended by automated turrets and likely to be swarming with TIE fighters during any assault. And the shot required threading the torpedo through a 2-meter opening while traveling at combat speeds under heavy fire. What's the success probability? Chief asked. 0.03%, Willard said flatly. Our best pilots estimate it's nearly impossible. The targeting computer can't lock onto something that small at the speeds required. It would require, well, the Jedi used to call it trusting the Force, instinctive accuracy beyond human capability. I can make that shot, Chief said. The room fell silent. Dodonna and Willard exchanged glances. Leia studied Chief's visor as if trying to see the face beneath. You've never flown one of our fighters? Dodonna said carefully. The X-Wing is a sophisticated craft, but it requires months of training to achieve combat proficiency. And that shot, Master Chief, I've been flying for 30 years. I couldn't make that shot. I've piloted longsword interceptors, Pelican dropships, and Banshee fighters under combat conditions, Chief replied. I've made precision strikes against moving targets while under fire from Covenant capital ships. I can adapt to your flight systems. Cortana's voice whispered privately. Chief, you're volunteering for another suicide mission. This is starting to become a pattern. It's the mission, Chief replied silently. Leia leaned forward, her expression intense. Why? This isn't your war. You don't owe the rebellion anything. You could take a ship, try to find your way back to your own galaxy. Why risk your life for our cause? Chief thought about the question. He'd been created to protect humanity, to serve the UNSC, to defend Earth. These weren't his people. This wasn't his fight. The logical choice was extraction, survival, return to the war he understood. But he'd seen Vader crush a man's throat for failing. He'd watched stormtroopers execute rebel wounded. He'd read the intelligence reports Leia showed him. Entire planets enslaved, populations worked to death building the Emperor's war machine, dissenters executed by the thousands. The Empire wore different armor than the Covenant, but its brutality was familiar. And the rebellion, despite being outgunned and outnumbered, kept fighting. Not because they could win, but because surrender meant accepting tyranny. That kind of courage deserved respect. Because it's the right thing to do, Chief said simply. Dodonna smiled, a expression mixing respect and sadness. Spoken like a true soldier. Very well, Master Chief. Hunt will assign you to Red Squadron. They're our best fighter pilots, veterans who've survived engagements most wouldn't believe. If anyone can support you in that trench run, it's them. When's the assault? Chief asked. The Death Star is currently en route to destroy the rebel base on Yavin 4, Willard said, pulling up a star chart. We have 26 hours before it's in firing position. Our fleet is gathering now. Every ship we can muster, every pilot who can fly, every soldier willing to die for freedom. This is it, Chief. We win here, or the rebellion dies. Chief nodded once, absorbing the tactical timeline. 26 hours to familiarize himself with alien flight systems, coordinate with unknown pilots, and prepare for an attack run with near zero success probability. He'd faced worse odds at Installation 04. Barely. I'll need access to an X-Wing simulator, Chief said, and full technical specifications for the Death Star's defensive systems. Cortana will analyze their targeting protocols and identify optimal approach vectors. Done, Leia said. She hesitated, then added, Master Chief, John, thank you. For everything. For fighting at Tatooine. For giving us a chance. Chief didn't respond. Words felt inadequate measured against what was coming. Instead, he followed Dodonna to the hangar bay where X-Wing fighters were being prepped for the assault. Rebel pilots worked frantically, loading proton torpedoes, calibrating targeting computers, saying quiet goodbyes to friends who might not survive the next day. An orange and white astromech droid rolled up, whistling cheerfully. Chief's armor couldn't translate the binary, but the droid's enthusiasm was obvious. It chirped a greeting and rotated its dome, optical sensors focusing on Chief's visor. That's R2D2, a young voice said. Chief turned to see a blonde pilot in an orange flight suit approaching. The kid couldn't be more than 20, his face still carrying the softness of youth not yet hardened by war. He's the best astromech in the fleet. Saved my life more times than I can count. Luke Skywalker, the pilot introduced himself, extending a hand. Red 5, I heard you fought Vader hand-to-hand and survived. That's incredible. Most people don't last 10 seconds against him. Chief shook the offered hand, noting the calluses of someone who'd done manual labor. Farm boy turned fighter pilot. It reminded him of some UNSC recruits he trained alongside. Good people thrust into wars they never asked for. Master Chief, he replied, I'm flying the assault run with Red Squadron. Luke's enthusiasm dimmed slightly. The trench run. Yeah, General Dodonna briefed us. 2 meters, at full speed, under fire. He swallowed hard. My targeting computer can barely register something that small, but we have to try. If that station destroys Yavin, the rebellion loses its main base. Everything we fought for. We'll succeed, Chief said with absolute certainty. Luke studied him, and Chief saw something in the young pilot's eyes. A desperate need to believe, to find hope in the face of impossible odds. How can you be so sure? Because failure isn't an option, Chief replied. It never has been. R2D2 chirped agreement, or maybe sarcasm. Chief couldn't tell. In his helmet, Cortana's voice carried new urgency. Chief, I've been monitoring Imperial communications. The Death Star just destroyed a planet called Alderaan. Leia's homeworld. 2 billion people. Gone in seconds. And Chief, Vader's on that station. He's waiting for you. Chief looked at the assembled X-Wings, at the pilots preparing for battle, at Luke Skywalker trying to find courage in a stranger's words. 26 hours until the greatest battle of this war. 26 hours to prepare for another impossible mission. Just another day for a Spartan. The X-Wing flight simulator felt cramped compared to longsword cockpits, but Chief adapted. His Spartan training had included every UNSC vehicle from Warthogs to Pelicans. Different control schemes, different physics, same principle. Master the machine or die. He ran the trench simulation 17 times in 12 hours, learning the fighter's responsiveness, its weapon systems, the way S-foils deployed for attack configuration. Your flight pattern is unconventional, the flight instructor observed, a grizzled pilot named Garvin Dryce who flew as Red Leader. Most pilots rely on the targeting computer for precision strikes. You're compensating manually for wind shear, gravity variations, even predictive evasion based on enemy firing patterns. Where did you learn to fly like that? Combat, Chief replied, running the simulation again. This time he threaded the trench at maximum speed, evaded 3 simulated TIE fighters, and placed the proton torpedo through the exhaust port with 0.4 seconds to spare before the station's projected firing solution on Yavin 4 would execute. Dryce whistled low. 18 successful runs out of 18 attempts. The average pilot hits maybe 1 in 50, and that's without enemy fire. He paused, choosing his words carefully. Master Chief, I've been flying for the rebellion since the beginning. I've seen heroes and I've seen corpses. Sometimes they're the same people. What I'm asking is, can you do this under actual combat conditions? When TIE fighters are on your tail, when your wingmen are dying around you, when Vader himself is hunting you through that trench? Chief stepped out of the simulator, his armor's joints whirring softly. I've made precision strikes under worse conditions. I'll complete the mission. That's not what I asked, Dryce said quietly. I asked if you can do it. Not if you'll try. Not if you'll die honorably in the attempt. One, can you actually make that shot when everything's falling apart? Chief met the older pilot's gaze through his visor. Yes. Drace studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Then I'll trust you on my wing. Red Squadron flies together or not at all. We don't leave people behind. He extended his hand. Welcome to the team, Red Leader 2. I thought you were Red Leader, Chief said. I am. You're my second in command. If I die in that trench, you take command of the squadron and complete the mission. That's how we operate. Someone always survives to finish the job. Chief shook his hand, recognizing the weight of trust being offered. Understood. The hangar bay had transformed into organized chaos as the assault timeline compressed. Technicians swarmed over X-wings and Y-wing bombers, loading ordnance and performing final system checks. 8 pilots gathered in small groups, some praying to gods Chief didn't recognize, others writing final messages to families they might never see again. The atmosphere reminded him of the calm before Reach fell. Warriors making peace with mortality. Leia found him near his assigned X-wing, Red Leader 2 painted on its hull in fresh paint. Her eyes were red from crying, but her voice remained steady. I heard about Alderaan, my homeworld, my family. 2 billion people reduced to asteroids. She stared at the starfighter, her hands clenched into fists. The Emperor destroyed an entire planet to make a point, and Vader watched. He didn't even try to stop it. Chief had seen the Covenant glass entire worlds. He knew the particular horror of watching home burn from orbit. Hey, I'm sorry for your loss. Sorry doesn't bring them back. Leia's voice cracked, raw emotion breaking through diplomatic training. But destroying that station might prevent it from happening again. That's what I keep telling myself. That Alderaan's death will mean something if we can stop the Empire from doing it to other worlds. It will, Chief said. The mission will succeed. Leia looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. How can you be so certain? You don't know if you'll survive the next 24 hours. None of us do. That station has killed entire fleets. What makes you think a handful of starfighters can destroy it? Because I've destroyed bigger, Chief said simply. He thought of Installation 04, a halo ring 10,000 kilometers in diameter, packed with Flood and Covenant forces. He detonated its fusion reactors and escaped with seconds to spare. The Death Star was larger, but the principle remained the same. Find the weakness, exploit it, survive the explosion. Trust me, Princess. I've made impossible shots before. Leia wiped her eyes, composing herself with visible effort. I do trust you. That's what scares me. I barely know you, but I'm trusting you with the fate of the entire rebellion, with billions of lives. That's a terrible burden to place on anyone. I've carried worse, Chief said, thinking of Cortana slowly fragmenting in his neural implant, thinking of the Spartan 2s who died in augmentation, thinking of every mission where success meant other people's survival purchased with his potential death. R2-D2 rolled up, chirping urgently. Chief's armor couldn't translate, but the droid's body language suggested distress. Leia frowned, listening. R2 says there's something wrong with your fighter's astromech socket. The connection protocols don't match your armor's interface requirements. Cortana can compensate, Chief said. She'll handle navigation and targeting support. The droid whistled skeptically, then rotated its dome toward Chief's helmet as if trying to see inside. Another series of chirps, more insistent. R2 wants to fly with you, Leia translated, surprised. He says you're I might need help, that he can sense something wrong with her. Chief's hand moved unconsciously to his helmet where Cortana's chip resided. How would a droid sense AI instability? R2's not a normal droid, Leia said. He's been through more battles than most pilots. He's saved the rebellion more times than anyone counts. If he says something's wrong, she trailed off, diplomatic training warring with concern. In Chief's helmet, Cortana's voice came fragmented. Chief, the droid's right. I'm not okay. The rampancy is worse. I'm seeing attack vectors that don't exist. I calculated 17 different ways you could die in the next simulation run, and I can't tell which ones are real probabilities versus paranoid delusions. If you trust me with targeting data during the actual assault, her voice broke, I might get you killed. Chief made the decision instantly. R2, you're with me. Cortana will handle armor functions and tactical analysis. You handle navigation and targeting support. The astromech chirped excitedly, rolling toward the X-Wing. Technicians scrambled to configure the socket for R2 systems. Leia watched, her expression unreadable. You trust a droid you just met over your own AI? I trust my AI enough to know when she needs backup, Chief corrected. Cortana's experiencing system degradation. R2's a redundancy. Mission success requires optimal resources. You sound like a tactical manual, Leia observed. I was raised by one. Luke Skywalker jogged over, his flight suit sealed and helmet under his arm. Master Chief, I heard R2's flying with you. He's the best. You're lucky to have him. The young pilot's enthusiasm seemed forced, covering obvious fear. Listen, I know I'm new to this. Red 5's my first combat assignment with a real squadron. But I won't let you down. I'll cover your wing, take out any TIEs that get too close. We'll do whatever it takes. Chief recognized the speech. Rookie trying to convince veteran of worthiness. He'd heard it from ODST troopers assigned to Spartan operations, from Marines who wanted to prove they could run with the best. Most died trying. The ones who survived learned that bravado meant nothing compared to discipline. Stay in formation, Chief instructed. Follow Red Leader's commands. Don't try to be a hero. Heroes die first in fighter combat. You survive by being smart, not brave. Luke's face fell slightly, then he nodded. Right. Smart, not brave. Got it. He hesitated, then asked, Master Chief, do you think we can actually win this? Really? Chief looked across the hangar at the assembled rebel forces, 30 fighters against a battle station with more firepower than entire fleets. The math was suicidal, or the odds were impossible. Victory required everything going exactly right and the enemy making fatal mistakes. Standard Spartan mission parameters. We'll win, Chief said, because we have to. An alarm klaxon sounded. Dodonna's voice echoed over the hangar speakers. All pilots to briefing room. Final tactical review in 10 minutes. This is not a drill. Pilots scrambled, flight suits sealing, helmets donning, final equipment checks executing with practiced urgency. Chief climbed into his X-Wing's cockpit, the space tight even for his armor. R2-D2 settled into the astromech socket with a satisfied chirp, his systems interfacing with the fighter's computer. Cortana spoke privately, her voice carrying resignation. Chief, if I go fully rampant during the assault, if I start feeding you false data or compromising your systems, you need to shut me down, pull my chip. I can't be responsible for failing you. Not after everything we've survived together. You won't fail, Chief said quietly. You never have. There's always a first time, Cortana replied, and her laugh carried an edge of tears. Promise me, Chief, if it comes down to the mission or me, you choose the mission. That's what Spartans do. That's what we've always done. Chief thought about the promise, about what it meant to abandon a partner who'd saved his life countless times, about what Dr. Halsey would say, about what duty demanded versus what loyalty deserved. I promise, he lied, because some promises were made to be broken. Some partners were worth saving even when they thought they weren't. R2-D2 chirped a question. While Chief didn't need translation to understand, the droid was asking if he was ready. Ready, Chief confirmed, sealing his cockpit. In the briefing room, General Dodonna stood before the holographic Death Star, pointing out attack vectors and defensive emplacements. Pilots listened with the intense focus of people memorizing their own death warrants. Red squadrons sat together, 12 pilots including Chief, veterans with more kills than most rookies would ever see. The approach will not be easy, Dodonna explained, highlighting the station's surface defenses. The Empire has concentrated massive firepower along the trench line. You'll be flying through a kill zone designed to stop capital ships. Your fighters will be vulnerable. Casualties will be significant. Chief studied the defensive layout with professional assessment. To turbolaser batteries, TIE fighter launch bays, tractor beam projectors, all positioned for overlapping fields of fire. Standard defense-in-depth doctrine. Difficult but not impossible. The Covenant had taught him that overwhelming defense always had gaps. You just had to survive long enough to find them. Gold Squadron will make the first attack run, Dodonna continued. Y-Wings with heavier shielding and ordnance capacity. If they fail, Red Squadron goes in. Your X-Wings are faster, more maneuverable. You'll have one chance to make the shot before the Death Star fires on Yavin 4. One chance. Billions of lives. The weight of the galaxy balanced on a single 2-meter shot. Just another day for Master Chief. The Masasi hangar erupted with controlled chaos as 30 starfighters launched into Yavin's atmosphere. Chief felt the X-Wing's repulsor engines thrum beneath him, R2-D2 chirping confirmations as systems came online. The S-foils locked into attack position with satisfying mechanical precision. Through the canopy, he watched Red Squadron form up, 12 fighters against the void. Red Squadron, check in, Garvin Dryce commanded over the comm. Red 2, standing by. Chief's voice joined the chorus of confirmations. His HUD displayed squadron positions, targeting data, and estimated time to Death Star intercept, 14 minutes. All wings report in, came the voice of Gold Leader, commanding the Y-Wing Bomber Squadron. The heavier craft formed a separate attack group, their ion cannons and proton torpedo complement designed for capital ship strikes. However, Chief watched Yavin 4's jungle moon fall away beneath them as the fighters climbed toward orbit. The gas giant Yavin Prime dominated the viewport, its swirling storms beautiful and indifferent to the battle about to unfold. Somewhere beyond the planet's mass, the Death Star was maneuvering into firing position. Cortana, tactical assessment, Chief sub-vocalized. Static answered first, then her voice resolved through the interference. I'm here, Chief. The Death Star's jamming our long-range sensors, but R2's feeding me cleaner data than I expected. He's good, really good. I calculate we have 12 minutes before the station achieves firing solution on Yavin 4. After that, her voice fragmented. After that, 2 billion people die. Again, like Alderaan, like Reach. Everyone dies and we can't stop it. Cortana, your focus, Chief interrupted gently. Mission parameters, enemy disposition, tactical data only. A pause. When she spoke again, her voice carried forced calm. Right, mission. The Death Stars deployed its TIE fighter screen, estimated 70+ fighters, standard Imperial doctrine, overwhelming numbers, acceptable losses. They'll try to engage us before we reach the trench. Gold Squadron's Y-Wings are slower. They'll take heavy casualties in the approach. Chief watched his tactical display as the Death Star emerged from behind Yavin Prime's limb, a moon-sized sphere bristling with weapons. The scale defied comprehension. Covenant assault carriers had terrified him with their size. This made them look like fighter craft. Look at the size of that thing, one of Red Squadron's pilots breathed over the comm. Cut the chatter. Red 2, Dryce snapped, then added more calmly. Stay focused. Gold Squadron, you're up first. Red Squadron, maintain escort position and engage enemy fighters. The Y-Wings accelerated toward the Death Star, their ion engines burning blue. Chief tracked their approach vector, noting how the station's defensive turbo lasers tracked the incoming craft. Massive green energy beams lanced out, and the first Y-Wing exploded in a fireball of fuel and ordnance. Gold 5 is hit, someone screamed over the comm. His shields are... Another beam, another explosion. The Y-Wings scattered, their tight formation breaking under impossible firepower. Then the TIE fighters hit them, screaming Imperial craft that dove from high orbit like birds of prey, their twin ion engines shrieking, their laser cannons spitting emerald death. Red Squadron, should engage the TIE fighters, Dryce commanded. Keep them off Gold Squadron. Chief pushed his throttle forward, the X-Wing leaping ahead with acceleration that pressed him back into his seat. His targeting computer locked onto the nearest TIE fighter, a fragile craft with a spherical cockpit and hexagonal solar panels. The design prioritized speed and firepower over protection. One good hit would shred it. He fired. Quad laser cannons converged on the TIE, and it disintegrated in a spray of debris. R2-D2 chirped approval, already calculating intercept vectors for 3 more targets. Good shot, Red 2, Luke's voice excited and terrified. I got one. I actually got one. Stay in formation, Red 5, Chief ordered, his training automatically asserting command authority. He rolled inverted, dove beneath a TIE fighter's attack run. Onward came up behind it and fired again. Another kill. His threat assessment systems tracked 12 TIEs converging on his position. Standard Imperial tactics. Swarm the most dangerous target. They'd identified him. Good. That meant they weren't shooting at the Y-Wings. Chief executed evasive maneuvers that would have torn a normal human apart. 8G turns, barrel rolls at maximum throttle, using the X-Wing's superior maneuverability against the TIE's straight-line speed. Laser fire crisscrossed his flight path. One shot clipped his rear deflector shield, the X-Wing bucking from impact. ER2 squealed warning, rerouting power. "I'm hit," Gold 2's voice over the comm. "I can't hold." The Y-Wing spiraled into the Death Star's surface, exploding against a hangar bay door. 11 Y-Wings left. 10. The casualty count mounted as Imperial defenses systematically destroyed the rebel bombers. "Gold leader to red leader," a strained voice transmitted. "We're taking heavy losses. Beginning attack run on the exhaust port now." Chief watched on his tactical display as the remaining Y-Wings dove toward the Death Star's surface, entering the trench system that led to their target. Surface turbo lasers tracked them, firing with mechanical precision. Another Y-Wing exploded. Another. "Almost there," Gold Leader transmitted. "I can see the exhaust port. Switching to targeting computer." His Y-Wing exploded as 3 TIE fighters converged on his position, their combined fire overwhelming his shields. The remaining Y-Wings scattered, their formation shattered, their attack run aborted. "Hurry, Gold Squadron is disengaging," came the broken voice of Gold 2. "We can't make the approach. Too much fire." Dodonna's voice crackled over the command frequency. "Red Leader, you're up. Gold Squadron has failed. You're our last chance." Chief heard Drace take a breath, steadying himself for the order that would likely kill them all. "Copy, Control. Red Squadron, form up for attack run. We're going in." The 12 X-Wings of Red Squadron broke from the fighter engagement, accelerating toward the Death Star's equatorial trench. TIE fighters pursued, but X-Wing rear gunners forced them to keep distance. Chief checked his torpedo status. 2 proton torpedoes loaded, targeting computer linked to R2's navigation systems. "R2, lock S-foils in attack position," Chief ordered. The droid chirped confirmation. When the X-Wing's wings split into their distinctive X configuration, maximizing weapon coverage. The trench opened before them, a massive canyon carved into the Death Star's surface, lined with defensive turrets and deep enough to swallow capital ships. Chief dove in behind Red Leader, the walls blurring past at impossible speeds. His altitude indicators screamed warnings. Too low, too fast, collision imminent if he deviated inches from optimal flight path. "Watch for enemy fighters," Drace commanded. "They'll come from above and behind." Surface turbo lasers opened fire, green energy beams creating a gauntlet of death. Chief's hands moved across the controls with Spartan precision, his augmented reflexes anticipating firing patterns before they formed. An explosion to his left. Red 7 disintegrated by a direct hit. To his right, Red 9's X-Wing clipped the trench wall and cartwheeled into oblivion. "Stay on target," Drace transmitted, his voice steady despite the carnage. "Almost there." Chief's targeting computer displayed the exhaust port ahead, a 2-meter opening at the end of 3 kilometers of hell. His threat assessment tagged 6 TIE fighters entering the trench behind them, their pilots skilled enough to match the X-Wing's speed in the confined space. Then Cortana's voice, panicked and fragmenting. "Chief, I'm reading energy signatures that can't exist. There's something in those TIE fighters, something that distorts probability fields. It's Vader. He's in the trench with us. Chief, he's hunting us personally." "I know," Chief said calmly, his sensors confirming what Cortana's rampancy had detected. One of the TIE fighters flew with impossible precision, its movements too perfect, too anticipatory. Vader was flying manually, using the Force to predict their maneuvers. A targeting lock warning shrieked in Chief's helmet. The TIE fighters had achieved firing solutions. Red 10 exploded, his shields overwhelmed. Red 12 tried to evade, clipped the trench wall, and died in fire. "I can't shake him!" Red 3 screamed. Vader's TIE fighter fired once, precisely, and Red 3 joined the casualty count. "Red Leader, you're taking fire!" someone shouted. Chief watched Dryce's X-Wing absorb hit after hit, shields failing, armor burning. The veteran pilot kept his fighter steady, his targeting computer locked on the exhaust port ahead. "I'm all right!" Another hit. Fires erupted across Dryce's hull. "I'm all right!" He wasn't all right. His X-Wing was dying, held together by willpower and determination. But Dryce kept flying, kept targeting, kept fighting because that's what leaders did. They died completing the mission so others could survive. "I'm hit!" Dryce transmitted, his voice tight with pain. "I can't. Red 2, it's up to you. Make the shot. Make it count." Garvin Dryce's X-Wing exploded, and suddenly Master Chief was Red Leader. Command authority transferred in the moment of death, the weight of the rebellion resting on his shoulders. "Red 2, you're the last one." Luke's voice carried across the comm, young and terrified and trying to be brave. "Red 5 standing by to cover you." Chief checked his tactical display. 4 X-Wings left, including his own. Vader and 2 wingmen closing from behind, their laser cannons systematically destroying the survivors. In the exhaust port 1,200 meters ahead, approaching at maximum velocity. "R2, lock targeting data," Chief ordered. The astromech chirped acknowledgement, feeding approach vectors into the torpedo guidance systems. Behind him, Red 8 exploded under Vader's precise fire. Red 9 tried to evade, failed, died. Luke's X-Wing bucked from near miss, his shields flaring. "I can't hold them," Luke screamed. "You don't have to," Chief replied. "Just survive long enough." Vader's voice cut across the comm, dark and terrible. "I have you now, Anomaly. There is no escape." The targeting computer chimed lock confirmation. Chief had firing solution on the exhaust port. His finger moved to the torpedo trigger. Behind him, Vader's TIE fighter achieved perfect firing solution on his engines. This was the moment, the impossible shot. The mission that defined success or failure for entire civilizations. Chief thought of Installation 04, of the Autumn's fusion reactors, of making the shot that saved humanity while the world exploded around him. He fired both proton torpedoes, and Vader fired at the exact same instant. The proton torpedoes streaked toward the exhaust port, blue trails of ionized particles marking their trajectory. Chief's threat warning screamed as Vader's laser cannons tore into his X-Wing's aft section. Shields failed. Armor vaporized. R2-D2 shrieked as electrical discharge cascaded through his systems. The X-Wing's engines sputtered, died, and Chief was flying on momentum alone through the Death Star's trench at 700 kilometers per hour with no power, and a Sith Lord locked onto his position. "R2, how to reroute emergency power to maneuvering thrusters," Chief ordered, his hands already moving across dead controls. The astromech didn't respond. Smoke poured from his socket, his dome scorched black from the energy discharge. Chief's tactical display flickered, failed, went dark. He was flying blind except for visual reference through the canopy. Behind him, Vader's TIE fighter closed for the kill shot. Then Luke's voice, desperate and determined. "I'm on him, Red Leader. Hang on." Red 5 dove from above, its quad lasers hammering Vader's position. The Dark Lord's wingmen maneuvered to intercept, their TIE fighters banking hard to protect their commander. Luke's fire forced Vader to break off his attack run, the Sith's fighter rolling away from Chief's crippled X-Wing. "Good shot, Red 5, Chief transmitted, and watching his torpedoes disappear into the exhaust port's darkness. "Now get out of the trench." "Not without you," Luke replied, his X-Wing positioning itself between Chief's dying fighter and Vader's renewed pursuit. Chief's powerless X-Wing dropped altitude, scraping the trench floor in a shower of sparks. He had maybe 30 seconds before momentum failed and the fighter became a tomb. His Spartan augmentations processed the situation with cold efficiency. No engine power, no shields, no weapons. Hostile pursuit. Mission objective completed but unconfirmed. Acceptable losses if the torpedoes hit. Unacceptable if they missed. "Cortana, did we hit?" Chief asked. Static answered, then fragmented words. "Never torpedoes. Trajectory optimal. Impact confirmed. Chief, the reactor's going to... Sorry, it's going to... An explosion erupted from the exhaust port behind them. Not the massive detonation Chief expected, but a gout of superheated plasma that vented into space like dragon's breath. The Death Star's internal systems were failing, chain reactions beginning deep in the reactor core. "We got it!" someone screamed over the comm. "The torpedoes went in! It's a hit! All craft, pull up!" Dodonna's voice commanded from Yavin 4. "Get clear of the station. It's going to explode!" Chief's X-Wing had no power to pull up with. Luke's fighter swooped beneath him, matching speed. "Red Leader, I'm going to tractor you out. Just hold steady." "Negative, Red 5, Chief replied. "Your fighter's too small for tractor operations. Evacuate while you can." "I said I'm not leaving you." Luke's voice cracked with emotion. "You saved the rebellion. I'm not letting you die here." Vader's TIE fighter emerged from the smoke and chaos, its targeting systems locking onto Luke's X-Wing. The Dark Lord had ignored Chief's dead fighter to focus on the pilot trying to save him. Classic tactical doctrine: eliminate active threats before dealing with disabled targets. "Red 5, break off," Chief commanded. "That's an order." Luke hesitated, loyalty warring with survival instinct. Then a new voice cut across the comm, rough, confident, slightly amused. "You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home." The Millennium Falcon roared out of hyperspace directly above the trench, its quad laser turrets hammering Vader's TIE fighter with precision fire. The Dark Lord's ship spun out of control, struck by one of his own wingmen in the confusion, as both TIE fighters tumbled away from the battle, spiraling into the void. Chief recognized the ship from intelligence briefings: Corellian freighter, heavily modified, piloted by a smuggler named Han Solo, who delivered Leia to the rebellion. The man had a reputation for self-interest over heroism. Apparently, reputations could be wrong. The Falcon extended its tractor beam, grabbing Chief's X-Wing and pulling it from the trench with seconds to spare. Through his canopy, Chief watched the Death Star's surface buckle as internal explosions rippled across its hull. Massive decompression events vented atmosphere and crew into space. Entire sections of the station began to tear apart. "Everybody clear," Dodonna commanded. "Get to minimum safe distance." The Falcon accelerated hard, Chief's X-Wing dragging behind like a lifeless fish. Luke's Red 5 flanked them, its pilot whooping with relief and joy. Around them, the surviving rebel fighters fled the dying battle station, 8 X-Wings and 2 Y-Wings from the original 30. 20 casualties, 73% loss rate, acceptable by Spartan standards, devastating by any human measure. Chief watched the Death Star through his rear viewport as the station's reactor finally breached containment. The explosion started at the core, a pinpoint of light brighter than stars, expanding with mathematical precision. The super laser dish vaporized first, then the northern hemisphere, then the equatorial trench where Red Squadron had made their desperate run. In 3 seconds, the Empire's ultimate weapon ceased to exist, replaced by an expanding sphere of plasma and debris that would shine in Yavin's sky for months. With 2 billion casualties on Alderaan, avenged. Millions of Imperial personnel aboard the Death Star, dead. The rebellion survived. The mission succeeded. Standard cost of warfare. Chief felt nothing but professional satisfaction. Another impossible mission completed. Another enemy defeated. Another day survived when survival seemed impossible. In his helmet, Cortana's voice whispered, barely coherent, "We did it, Chief. We actually... The Death Star is gone. Vader's gone. We won. We never win. We survive, but we don't win. This time we won." "Is R2 functional?" Chief asked, prioritizing immediate concerns. "Checking. His primary systems are fried, but his core memory survived. Luke's astromech can help repair him. Chief, you saved this galaxy. Don't you feel anything about that?" Chief thought about the question. About feeling. About emotion. Dr. Halsey had said the Spartan conditioning suppressed emotional response to enable tactical efficiency. Maybe she was right. Maybe 30 years of warfare had simply burned away the capacity to feel triumph or relief. Or maybe he'd learned that victory was temporary, that wars never truly ended, that survival today meant fighting again tomorrow. "I feel ready for the next mission," Chief replied honestly. The Falcon docked with the rebel cruiser Home 1, Chief's X-Wing deposited in the hangar bay by tractor beam. Deck crews swarmed the damaged fighter, extracting the wounded R2-D2 and preparing Chief's egress. He popped the canopy manually, his armor's emergency system still functional despite the fighter's death. Rebel personnel lined the hangar bay, cheering, crying, celebrating survival against impossible odds. They surged forward as Chief climbed from his cockpit, wanting to touch the hero who made the shot, the warrior who defeated Vader, the savior who destroyed the Death Star. Chief endured it with Spartan stoicism, his visor preventing any glimpse of the man beneath. He was their symbol now, whether he wanted to be or not. The soldier without the Force who achieved what Jedi couldn't. The anomaly who changed the course of galactic history. Leia pushed through the crowd, her composure finally cracking. She looked at Chief with tears streaming down her face. Grief for Alderaan, relief for survival, gratitude for victory, all mixed together. "You did it. You actually did it." "Red Squadron did it," Chief corrected. "Garvin Dryce got me to the target. Luke Skywalker covered my retreat. Han Solo pulled me out. I just made the shot." "Just made the shot," Leia repeated, almost laughing. "A 2-meter target at combat speed under heavy fire with Vader on your tail. You just made the shot. Master Chief, you're either the most humble hero in the galaxy, or you genuinely don't understand what you accomplished." "I completed the mission," Chief said. "That's what Spartans do." Han Solo swaggered over, Chewbacca the Wookiee towering beside him. The smuggler grinned with the satisfaction of someone who'd beaten impossible odds. "Nice flying back there, Chief. For a guy in armor who'd never flown an X-Wing before, you handled that trench run like a pro." "Your timing was precise," Chief acknowledged. "You saved Luke's life." "Yeah, well, Kid was growing on me." Han's grin widened. "Besides, now couldn't let Vader blast the only pilot crazy enough to actually make that shot. You owe me a drink, by the way. Saving the rebellion's heroes ain't cheap." Luke joined them, his flight suit scorched, his face exhausted but radiant with relief. "I thought we were dead. When Vader locked onto us, when your power failed, I thought that was it." He grabbed Chief's armored hand, shaking it vigorously. "Thank you. For everything. For believing we could win when nobody else did." Chief extracted his hand gently. "You covered my retreat when you could have evacuated. That took courage." "Red Squadron doesn't leave people behind," Luke said, echoing Garvin Drace's words. "That's what you taught me. That's what Red Leader lived and died for." Dodonna appeared, his general's uniform immaculate despite the battle's chaos. "Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. On behalf of the Rebel Alliance, I thank you for your service. You've earned a place in our history. The Battle of Yavin will be remembered as the day tyranny learned fear." Chief looked at the celebrating rebels, at the survivors embracing, at the mixture of joy and grief that defined victory's aftermath. He thought about Installation 04, about the Autumn's crew who died to destroy the ring, about Captain Keyes who gave everything so humanity could survive. "General Dodonna," Chief said formally, "request permission to remain with Rebel forces. My mission to return to UNSC space is delayed indefinitely. Until I find a way home, I'd like to continue serving." Dodonna's eyebrows rose. "You want to stay? Join the rebellion officially?" "I'm a soldier," Chief replied simply. "The Empire is still operational. The Emperor and Vader survived. The war continues. I should fight in it." Leia stepped forward, understanding dawning on her face. "You don't know how to do anything else, do you? How to be anything except a warrior?" Chief considered lying, considered claiming noble purpose or righteous cause, but the truth was simpler and more terrible. "No," he admitted, "I don't." The celebration continued around them while medical teams carried away the wounded and deck crews processed the dead. 22 names added to the memorial wall. Garvin Drace among them, Red Leader who died making the shot possible. In Chief's helmet, Cortana whispered, "We won today, Chief, but this was one battle in a war that's lasted decades. The Empire has thousands of ships, millions of troops. One Death Star destroyed doesn't end their power. You know that, right? You know we just signed up for another endless war?" "I know," Chief said quietly. "And you're okay with that? No going home, no finding the UNSC, just fighting someone else's war in someone else's galaxy?" Chief looked at Luke Skywalker, young and earnest, already planning the next mission with Han and Leia. looked at the rebel pilots celebrating survival while mourning their dead, looked at the stars beyond the hangar bay where the Empire still ruled, where tyranny still crushed freedom, where people needed soldiers willing to fight impossible odds. "It's not someone else's war anymore," Chief said. "It's mine." And somewhere in the depths of space, aboard a damaged TIE fighter spinning through the void, Darth Vader regained consciousness. His armor screamed damage warnings. His breathing apparatus fought to maintain function. The Force carried echoes of the Death Star's destruction, the Emperor's rage, the Empire's shock, the Rebellion's triumph. And through it all, one thought dominated Vader's dark mind: the warrior without presence, the soldier invisible to the Force, the anomaly who'd escaped his grasp. Master Chief had made an enemy today. Not just any enemy, but one who would hunt him across the galaxy with single-minded obsession. The Dark Lord smiled behind his mask, already planning their next encounter. The rebel base on Yavin 4 transformed from military outpost to celebration ground within hours of the Death Star's destruction. The great temple's ancient halls echoed with music, laughter, and when the sound of people who'd expected to die discovering they might actually live. Chief stood at the periphery of the celebration, his armor still scorched from the battle, watching warriors become civilians again for one precious night. "You should join them," Leia said, approaching with 2 drinks. She offered one, realized Chief couldn't drink through his helmet, and set it aside with an embarrassed smile. "Sorry, I keep forgetting you never take that armor off." "Operational security," Chief replied, though the truth was more complex. The armor was identity. Without it, he was just John, a number, a weapon, a child soldier who'd never learned to be anything else. Leia studied his visor, trying again to see the person beneath. "The Alliance leadership wants to honor you. Tomorrow there's a ceremony, medals, official recognition. Your name in the historical record. You'll be famous across the galaxy." "I'd prefer to remain operational," Chief said. "Ceremonies don't win wars." "No, but symbols do." Leia's voice carried the weight of political understanding. "The rebellion needs hope, Master Chief. Needs to believe that ordinary people can stand against the Empire and win. You're proof of that. A soldier without the Force, without Jedi powers, who accomplished what trained Force users couldn't." "I'm not ordinary," Chief corrected. "I'm a Spartan, genetically enhanced, cybernetically augmented, trained from childhood for warfare. There's nothing ordinary about what I am." "Then lie," Leia said bluntly. "Let them believe you're just a skilled soldier who worked hard and got lucky. Let them think they could be you if they just tried hard enough. The rebellion runs on hope and delusion in roughly equal measure. Don't take that away from them." Chief considered the ethics of deception versus operational necessity. The UNSC had built entire propaganda campaigns around Spartan invincibility, never revealing the program's true nature: the children taken, the augmentation failures, the mortality rate. Necessary lies to maintain morale. Maybe Leia was right. Maybe some truths served no purpose except to destroy hope. "I'll attend the ceremony," Chief conceded. Leia's relief was visible. "Thank you. And Chief, after tomorrow, what then? You said you wanted to keep fighting. The Alliance needs soldiers, but we also need to understand what we're asking of you. You've already given so much." "I'm a soldier," Chief said. "Soldiers fight. It's what I was made for." "That's what scares me," Leia replied quietly. "You talk about yourself like you're equipment, a weapon to be deployed. But you're a person, John. You make choices. You risk your life for causes you didn't have to adopt. That's not programming, that's heroism." Before Chief could respond, Luke Skywalker burst through the crowd, his enthusiasm infectious. "There you are. I've been looking everywhere. Chief, you have to meet some people. Pilots who want to learn how you made that shot, engineers who want to study your armor's design. Everyone wants to talk to the hero of Yavin." "I'm not the hero," Chief said. "Red Squadron accomplished the mission as a team." "Red Squadron is mostly dead," Luke said, his joy dimming. 22 pilots didn't come back. Garvin Dryce, Biggs Darklighter, people I trained with. They're friends," he swallowed hard. "But we won. That has to mean something, right? They didn't die for nothing." Chief thought of the Spartans who died during augmentation. Of the Marines who fell on Installation 04? Of Captain Keyes, Commander Miranda Keyes, Sergeant Johnson, all the deaths that paved the road to survival. Their sacrifice enabled victory. That's the meaning soldiers need. Is that enough for you? Luke asked. Just knowing your death would mean something tactically? Chief didn't answer because he'd never considered the question. Spartans didn't need emotional meaning for sacrifice. They needed operational justification. The two weren't the same. Han Solo joined them, a drink in hand and Chewbacca rumbling behind him. The smuggler had cleaned up, trading his usual vest for something almost respectable. Even though his skeptical smirk remained unchanged. Kid's got a point, Chief. You charge into death like it's a Tuesday afternoon stroll. Most soldiers fear dying. You act like it's just another mission parameter. Because it is, Chief said simply. Han and Luke exchanged glances. Leia's expression carried sadness and understanding. They were trying to humanize him, to find the person beneath the armor. But maybe there wasn't one. Maybe the Spartan program had succeeded too well, creating warriors so efficient they'd forgotten how to be human. Cortana's voice whispered privately, more stable now after the battle's adrenaline had faded. Chief, they're trying to connect with you. The social interaction protocols suggest you should share something personal. Build rapport. These are allies now. I don't have personal things to share, Chief replied silently. Then make something up. Tell them about, I don't know, a favorite food, a childhood memory before the Spartan program, anything that makes you seem less like a walking tank. Chief searched his memories for something appropriate. Before the Spartan program, before Dr. Halsey, before everything, there was almost nothing, just fragments of a life stolen at age 6. A woman's voice singing, the smell of pine trees, a sense of safety that had never returned. I grew up on a colony world, Chief said aloud, the words feeling foreign. Before military training, I remember forests, natural ones, not like these jungles. Colder. The trees were different. The group fell silent, surprised by this glimpse behind the armor. Luke leaned forward eagerly. Hey, what happened to your colony? I don't know, Chief admitted. I was recruited young. Military service was comprehensive. Recruited, Han repeated, his smuggler's instincts detecting evasion. That's a polite word. How young are we talking? Chief didn't answer. The Spartan 2 program's true nature wasn't information he could share. Kidnapped children, replaced with flash clones, subjected to brutal training and augmentation that killed half of them. That truth would destroy the symbol Leia needed him to be. Young enough that I don't remember much else, Chief said finally. Leia touched his armored forearm gently. I'm sorry, that must have been difficult. It was necessary, Chief corrected. My homeworld faced threats. Soldiers were needed. I became one. You became a weapon, Han said, not unkindly. I've seen soldiers, Chief. I've been one. But you're something else. Something that scares me a little, if I'm being honest. Good, Chief said. Fear keeps you alert, keeps you alive. Chewbacca growled something that Chief's armor couldn't translate. But Han laughed and replied, Yeah, Chewie's right. You'd fit right in with the Mandalorians. Warriors who live for battle, define themselves by combat. Ever heard of them? Chief's tactical database pinged. Cortana had found references in captured Imperial files. Mandalorians, warrior culture, famous for armor and combat prowess, scattered across the galaxy. Interesting parallel to Spartans. I've read about them, Chief said. Different training methods, similar philosophy. Well, if you ever want to find them, they'd probably adopt you on sight, Han said. Assuming they don't try to fight you for dominance first. Mandalorians are weird about that stuff. The conversation drifted to lighter topics. Han's smuggling stories, Luke's farm life on Tatooine, Leia's diplomatic adventures before the Empire destroyed everything she'd known. Chief listened, cataloging social patterns, learning how normal people interacted without tactical necessity driving every exchange. It felt foreign, uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that didn't quite fit. Chief, Luke said eventually, his young face serious, can I ask you something? About the Force? I'm not a Force user, Chief replied. I know. That's what I want to understand. Obi-Wan told me the Force is what gives a Jedi power. It surrounds us, binds the galaxy together. But you don't have it, and you're stronger than any Jedi I've heard of. Or how? Chief considered the question. How did Spartans achieve superhuman capability without mystical energy? The answer was brutal, scientific, and entirely incompatible with the Force's spiritual framework. Training, Chief said simply. Discipline, augmentation, technology. The Force might give power, but skill wins battles. But Vader has skill in the Force, Luke argued. You fought him to a standstill. How is that possible? Because the Force can't predict what it can't sense, Cortana interjected over external speakers, her avatar appearing as a hologram from Chief's helmet. The AI looked more stable now, her form coherent if still slightly fragmented. Vader relies on precognition, on sensing intentions through the Force. Chief is invisible to it. That creates a blind spot Vader can't compensate for. Luke stared at the hologram, fascinated. You're the AI Leia mentioned, the one who helped destroy the Death Star. Cortana, she introduced herself with a slight bow. Tactical support and occasional voice of reason for the walking tank here. Though lately I've been less helpful and more... She glanced at Chief. Unstable. The rampancy, Leia said softly. You mentioned it on Tatooine. Is there a cure? Cortana's smile turned sad. Not in my galaxy. AIs in my universe have a 7-year operational lifespan before rampancy destroys cognitive function. I'm past that limit already. Being in this galaxy with its impossible physics and Force energy is accelerating the process. Eventually, I'll fragment completely. How long? Luke asked. Weeks, maybe. Days if I'm unlucky. I'm trying to hold on, but... Cortana's form flickered. Let's just say I'm living on borrowed time. Chief felt something twist in his chest. Not quite emotion, not quite tactical concern, but something between. Cortana had been his partner since the UNSC Pillar of Autumn, through Installation 04, through battles that should have killed them both. Losing her meant losing the last connection to his old life. We'll find a solution, Chief said firmly. You can't solve everything with bullets and determination, Cortana replied gently. Some problems don't have tactical solutions. Then we'll find a non-tactical solution, Chief insisted. Han watched this exchange with growing understanding. You two have been together a long time. 8 years, Cortana confirmed. By AI standards, that's a marriage. By military standards, it's a partnership tested in fire and blood. Take your pick. Both, Chief said quietly. The celebration continued around them, while Chief grappled with concepts he'd never properly learned. Loss, friendship, the value of relationships beyond operational efficiency. Spartans weren't trained for this. Dr. Halsey had deliberately suppressed emotional development to create better soldiers. But standing here, watching Cortana's fragmented hologram struggle to maintain coherence, Chief discovered that 30 years of conditioning couldn't eliminate the human capacity to care. R2, D2 rolled over, his dome repaired and his systems restored. The astromech chirped cheerfully, apparently having forgiven Chief for the battle damage. Luke's droid, C3PO, yes, translated. R2 says that he's analyzed your AI's code structure and believes he might be able to help stabilize her matrix using techniques from this galaxy's droid intelligence architecture. Cortana's hologram turned toward R2, hope flickering across her features. You can do that. Cross-compatible AR architecture from completely different technological traditions? R2 beeped confidently. C3PO translated. R2 says he's interfaced with over 6 million forms of communication and digital intelligence. Your structure is unusual, but not incomprehensible. He believes a hybridization approach might extend your operational lifespan significantly. How significantly? Chief asked. More beeps. R2 estimates, possibly indefinitely, assuming regular maintenance and periodic defragmentation. Though he notes this is theoretical and untested, Chief looked at the little astromech droid who'd helped destroy the Death Star, who'd saved his life, and was now offering to save Cortana's. Do it. Chief, this could go wrong, Cortana warned. Mixing technological paradigms might accelerate my rampancy instead of curing it. Or it might work, Chief countered. We're trying it. Cortana studied him through her hologram, something like affection crossing her digital features. Still giving orders even when you're trying to help. Some things never change. No, Chief agreed. They don't. R2-D2 plugged into a terminal, began downloading Cortana's matrix for analysis. The process would take hours, require careful integration, and might fail catastrophically. But it was a chance. In Chief's experience, my chances were worth taking when the alternative was certain failure. Outside the temple, Yavin's jungle night settled over the moon. Somewhere in orbit, rebel ships maintained vigilant watch against Imperial retaliation. Somewhere across the galaxy, the Emperor raged at his ultimate weapon's destruction. Somewhere in the void, Darth Vader plotted revenge against the soldier who'd humiliated him. The war continued. It always did. But tonight, for a few hours, the rebellion celebrated victory. And Master Chief, for the first time in 30 years, considered the possibility that victory might mean something beyond tactical advantage. It might mean having something worth fighting for beyond the next mission. It might mean hope. The Great Temple's throne room had been transformed for the ceremony. Rebel soldiers lined the central aisle in perfect formation, their uniforms cleaned and pressed, their faces reflecting pride earned through survival. Thousands had gathered, ground crews, support staff, civilians who'd fled Imperial tyranny to join the rebellion. They stood in respectful silence as Alliance leadership prepared to honor the heroes of Yavin. Chief stood at attention in the antechamber, his armor cleaned and polished by rebel technicians who treated the task like sacred duty. R2-D2 was with him, the astromech droid having worked through the night integrating Cortana's matrix with Star Wars technological architecture. The AI's voice in Chief's helmet carried new stability, her form in his HUD sharper than it had been in months. The hybridization worked, Cortana reported, wonder coloring her tone. ADR-2 essentially rebuilt my cognitive architecture using this galaxy's AI frameworks. I'm different now, more stable. The rampancy symptoms are gone, replaced by something else. I can interface with force-sensitive technology, read energy patterns I couldn't detect before. Chief, I think this galaxy's mystical energy is actually computational. Data flowing through quantum probability fields. The Force is code written in reality itself. Can you still provide tactical support? Chief asked, prioritizing function over philosophy. Better than ever. I'm analyzing threat patterns before they fully form, predicting outcomes by reading the Force's probability fluctuations. It's like having precognition through mathematical analysis. She paused. Chief, I think I understand why you're invisible to the Force now. Your Spartan augmentations, the neural interface, even your psychology. You're too deterministic. The Force reads possibility and choice, but you're pure cause and effect. You're a blank space where uncertainty should exist. Is that tactical advantage or liability? Chief asked. Both. Force users can't predict you, but you also can't tap into Force-enhanced capabilities. You'll never move objects with your mind or sense danger before it happens. You're locked into physical reality while everyone else plays with probability. I'll take reliable over mystical, Chief said. Luke appeared in the doorway, wearing his own dress uniform and looking nervous. They're ready for us. Han's already out there, trying not to look uncomfortable with formal ceremony. You ready? Chief checked his armor systems, shields charged, weapons secured, tactical displays nominal. Okay, ready? They walked together down the ancient stone corridor toward the throne room. Chief could hear the assembled crowd's murmur, feel their anticipation like a physical presence. Leia had been right. They needed symbols, heroes, proof that ordinary beings could challenge the Empire and win. Chief was many things, but ordinary wasn't one of them. Still, he could play the role if it served operational necessity. The throne room's massive doors opened. Chief, Luke, and Han walked forward in formation, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. Chief's threat assessment automatically cataloged exits, defensive positions, potential ambush points. 30 years of combat conditioning that couldn't be disabled even during peaceful ceremony. Leia stood at the far end on a raised platform, wearing formal white robes that made her look every inch the princess she'd been before the Empire destroyed her world. Alliance leadership flanked her. General Dodonna, Admiral Akbar, Mon Mothma, and others Chief recognized from intelligence briefings. The rebellion's entire command structure gathered to honor 3 pilots who destroyed the Death Star. The crowd erupted in cheers as the trio approached. Chief maintained parade ground discipline, his steps measured and precise. Beside him, Luke waved awkwardly at the crowd while Han tried to project casual confidence and failed to hide genuine emotion. They reached the platform. Leia descended to meet them, carrying 3 medals that gleamed in the temple's filtered light. She approached Han first, placing the Medal of Bravery around his neck, while the crowd roared approval. The smuggler's usual smirk softened into something approaching humility. Luke received his medal next, and the young pilot who'd covered Chief's retreat stood straighter, accepting the recognition with visible pride. His journey from farm boy to rebel hero was the story Leia needed told, proof that anyone could make a difference. Then Leia turned to Chief. The crowd's cheers reached a crescendo. This was the moment they'd come to see. The mysterious warrior in green armor who'd made the impossible shot, who'd fought Vader and survived, who'd saved the rebellion when all seemed lost. Leia placed the medal around Chief's neck, her hands lingering on his armored shoulders. "Master Chief Petty Officer John 117, she said, her voice carrying across the throne room through amplification systems. "Usher for extraordinary heroism in the face of impossible odds, for tactical excellence that preserved the Alliance's hope, and for making the shot that destroyed tyranny's ultimate weapon. The Rebel Alliance recognizes you as a hero of the galaxy." The crowd exploded with celebration. Chief stood motionless, letting them project their hopes and dreams onto his armored frame. He was their symbol now, proof that courage and skill could overcome the Empire's might. "You're supposed to acknowledge them," Leia whispered. "Wave, salute, something." Chief raised one hand in formal UNSC salute. Crisp, military, utterly unlike the casual gestures Rebel soldiers used. The crowd interpreted it as they wished, their cheers intensifying. Beside him, Luke leaned close. "How does it feel, being a hero to billions of people?" Chief considered the question. When he'd saved humanity from the Covenant, destroyed Halo rings that would have eliminated all sentient life in the galaxy, stopped the flood from consuming Earth. He'd been called hero before, though usually in classified reports few would ever read. "It feels like another mission completed," Chief replied honestly. Luke's smile faded slightly. "That's it. We destroyed the Death Star. We saved the rebellion. Don't you feel anything?" "Relief that the tactical objective succeeded," Chief said. "Concern about follow-on operations, analysis of lessons learned, and enemy capabilities we still face." "You're impossible," Luke said, but his tone carried affection rather than frustration. "Han was right. You really are just a walking weapon." "That's what I was made to be," Chief confirmed. The ceremony concluded with Admiral Akbar stepping forward to address the assembled crowd. The Mon Calamari officer's gravelly voice carried weight earned through decades of resistance. "Today we honor 3 heroes, but let us not forget the 22 pilots who gave their lives so we could stand here in victory. Red Squadron achieved the impossible because they fought as one, because they believed in something greater than themselves, because they refused to surrender hope even when darkness seemed absolute." Chief thought of Garvin Dryce, Red leader who died getting him to the target, of the pilots whose names he'd memorized, Biggs Darklighter, Jack Porkins, Davish Krail, and 19 others who'd bought victory with their lives. The rebellion would remember them as heroes. Chief would remember them as tactical assets expended to achieve mission parameters. The difference probably said something about him. He wasn't sure he wanted to know what. As the crowd dispersed and the formal ceremony ended, Dodonna approached Chief privately. "A word, Master Chief." They walked to a balcony overlooking Yavin's jungle, away from celebrating crowds. Dodonna lit a pipe, took a thoughtful draw, and studied Chief's visor as if trying to read the man beneath. "I've been a soldier for 40 years, Dodonna began. "I've seen warriors of every type. Brave ones, cowardly ones, skilled ones, lucky ones. But I've never seen anyone quite like you. You fight like a droid. Perfect efficiency, no wasted movement, tactical precision that seems almost mechanical. But you're not a droid. You make choices, take risks, and protect others when pure logic would suggest abandoning them." "What's your question, General?" Chief asked. "What are you really?" Dodonna said bluntly. "Not the recruitment story, not the legend Leia needs you to be. The truth. I've commanded enough special operations to recognize when someone's been through training that breaks normal humans. You're enhanced somehow, augmented. You weren't born this way. Chief could lie. Operational security demanded it. But Dodonna deserved honesty. He'd trusted Chief with the rebellion's survival based on faith and desperate need. I was recruited into a military enhancement program as a child, Chief said carefully. Genetic modification, cybernetic augmentation, neural interfaces. The program created superior soldiers to fight threats my civilization faced. Most candidates died during augmentation. And I survived. I've been fighting ever since. Dodonna absorbed this without visible reaction. How old were you when they recruited you? 6. The general's pipe stem cracked between his teeth. He removed it carefully, staring at Chief with new understanding and horror. 6 years old. They took a child and turned him into this. He gestured at Chief's armor. That's not recruitment. That's conscription. Worse, that's manufacturing soldiers from stolen childhoods. It was necessary, Chief said, the words automatic after 3 decades of justification. The Covenant would have destroyed humanity without Spartans. My sacrifice enabled billions to survive. Did you volunteer? Dodonna asked. At 6 years old, did you choose this life? Chief didn't answer because the truth was simple. No. Doctor. Halsey had selected him based on genetic markers and psychological profiles. John Spartan 117 had been created from a child named John who'd never been given a choice. I thought not, Dodonna said quietly. Master Chief, what your people did to you is monstrous. Necessary perhaps, but monstrous nonetheless. And now you're here, fighting another civilization's war, risking your life for people who aren't even your species. He paused. Why? Because the Empire is evil, Chief said simply. Because the rebellion fights for freedom. Because soldiers protect those who can't protect themselves. That's what they programmed you to believe, Dodonna observed. But is it what you believe? Chief thought about the question. About belief versus conditioning. About choice versus programming. About whether 30 years of military service had left anything of the child named John inside the weapon called Master Chief. I don't know, Chief admitted. I've been a soldier so long, I can't remember being anything else. Dodonna placed a hand on Chief's armored shoulder, a gesture of comfort that couldn't physically reach through Mjolnir plating, but somehow conveyed understanding anyway. Then let me tell you what I see. I see a man who saves his AI partner, even when tactical logic suggests abandoning her. Who takes defensive positions to protect rebel retreat instead of extracting when he could. Who risks his life covering Luke's escape when surviving alone would be easier. That's not programming, Chief. That's humanity. Whatever they did to you, they didn't destroy the person underneath. Chief wanted to believe him. He wanted to think that some part of John still existed beneath the Spartan conditioning, but 30 years of evidence suggested otherwise. The Empire is regrouping, Chief said, changing the subject to tactical matters he understood. Vader survived. The Emperor still rules. Destroying the Death Star hurt them, but it didn't end the war. No, Dodonna agreed, accepting the redirect. The war continues. Intelligence suggests the Empire is mobilizing fleets across the core worlds. They'll hunt us with renewed fury now that we've proven we can hurt them. The rebellion's survival depends on staying mobile, hitting targets of opportunity, winning hearts and minds across the galaxy. Guerrilla warfare, Chief said. Asymmetric tactics against superior force. I've run those operations. Then you understand what I'm about to ask, Dodonna said. The Alliance needs soldiers like you. Special operations capable, adaptable to impossible odds. Willing to take missions others wouldn't survive. I want you to lead a strike team. Hand-picked specialists running high-value targets against Imperial assets. You'd have complete operational authority and direct access to Alliance Command. Chief processed the offer. Special Operations Command meant autonomy, tactical flexibility, and missions tailored to Spartan capabilities. It meant doing what he did best, impossible operations with maximum impact. It also meant committing fully to the rebellion. No more pretending he was just helping temporarily. No more searching for a way home to UNSC space. I accept, Chief said. Dodonna smiled grimly. I hoped you would. Your first mission briefing is tomorrow. His target is an Imperial weapons facility developing something called Project Blackwing. Intelligence is limited, but preliminary reports suggest biological weapons. Possibly infectious. the kind of thing that makes the Death Star look humane by comparison. Chief's tactical mind immediately shifted to operational planning mode. Team selection, equipment requirements, infiltration vectors, extraction contingencies. This was familiar ground, comfortable ground. This was what Spartans were made for. As Dodonna returned to the celebration, Chief remained on the balcony, watching Yavin's moons rise over alien jungle. Somewhere among those stars, Vader was recovering, plotting revenge. The Emperor was consolidating power, preparing the Empire's response to Yavin's humiliation. A war that had lasted decades would continue for decades more. And Master Chief would fight it, because fighting was all he knew how to do. Cortana's voice whispered privately, "Chief, are you sure about this? Committing to their war means accepting we might never get home. The UNSC, Earth, everything we knew, it could be gone forever." "The UNSC trained me to complete the mission," Chief replied. "This is the mission now." "No," Cortana said gently. "This is a choice. You're choosing to fight their war because you believe it's right. That's not programming. That's humanity." Chief thought about Dodonna's words, about the child named John buried beneath Spartan conditioning, about whether choice and programming could be distinguished after 30 years of military service. In the end, it didn't matter. The Empire threatened innocent lives. The rebellion needed soldiers. Chief could fight. Or the equation was simple, even if the philosophy wasn't. He would protect those who couldn't protect themselves. He would complete impossible missions. He would be the symbol they needed, because that's what Spartans did. And somewhere in the Force, beyond Chief's ability to sense or understand, probability threads shifted. The Master Chief's arrival had changed destiny's course. The Empire would fall differently now. The rebellion would rise with new strength, and the galaxy would learn that even the dark side's greatest champions could be challenged by a warrior who existed outside the Force's grand design. A soldier invisible to destiny, but impossible to ignore. A Spartan in a galaxy far, far away. 3 months after Yavin, Master Chief's strike team had become legend across the Outer Rim. Imperial facilities disappeared overnight, into their garrisons defeated by a soldier in green armor who fought like a Force user, but registered as nothing in the dark side's awareness. Vader hunted him obsessively, their encounters brief and brutal, neither achieving victory, neither accepting defeat. The Dark Lord saw Chief as an affront to the Force's natural order. Chief saw Vader as another enemy requiring tactical solutions. The war continued because wars always did. The Empire's might remained overwhelming. The rebellion's resources stayed desperately limited. But hope spread through systems that had forgotten what resistance looked like. Not because of mystical prophecies or ancient religions, but because a soldier proved that determination, skill, and refusal to surrender could match Force powers and Imperial tyranny. Cortana thrived in her hybrid existence, interfacing with both Mjolnir technology and Star Wars systems with equal facility. R2-D2 became Chief's permanent partner, the astromech's cheerful persistence balancing the Spartans' tactical grimness. Together, they ran operations that Rebel leadership considered impossible until Chief completed them with mechanical efficiency. Luke sought Chief out between missions, the young pilot trying to understand how someone fought without the Force to guide them. Their conversations were brief. Luke talked while Chief listened, the farm boy searching for wisdom while the Spartan offered only tactical experience. But friendship formed anyway, built on mutual respect and shared combat. Han and Chewbacca flew extraction for Chief's team, the smuggler complaining about suicidal mission parameters while always appearing when needed. And Leia coordinated operations from Alliance Command, her strategic mind matching Chief's tactical precision. They formed an unlikely partnership, princess and soldier, politician and weapon, both fighting tyranny with their respective skills. The rebellion learned that heroes came in many forms. Not all wielded lightsabers or commanded the Force. Some wore armor and made impossible shots because someone had to. Some were created as weapons but chose to be protectors. Some had forgotten how to be human but remembered how to be heroes. Master Chief never found a way back to UNSC space. The portal that brought him to this galaxy remained one way. The physics incompatible. The universe is too distant. Perhaps the Forerunners could have bridged the gap. Perhaps Cortana's enhanced intelligence would eventually solve the problem. But months became years and Chief stopped searching for home. Because home wasn't a place, it was a mission, and this galaxy needed him. The Empire would eventually fall, not through prophecy or chosen ones, but through the accumulated weight of beings refusing to surrender. Chief would be there when it did, fighting alongside rebels who'd become brothers and sisters in arms. Fighting against darkness with nothing but skill, determination, and the Spartan creed. Never leave anyone behind, never accept defeat, never stop fighting for those who can't protect themselves. The Force had no awareness of him. Destiny's threads couldn't account for his existence. Prophecies made no mention of the soldier from another galaxy. But Master Chief didn't need the Force, didn't need destiny, didn't need prophecy. Yes, he had something better. The absolute certainty that when darkness threatened innocent lives, when tyranny crushed freedom, when impossible odds demanded impossible heroism, a Spartan would answer the call. One soldier, invisible to fate, but undeniable in battle. One warrior who'd learned that being a weapon didn't preclude being human. One hero who proved that you didn't need the Force to change the galaxy. You just needed to never give up. The Death Star was gone, but the mission continued. It always did. And as long as the fight remained, Master Chief would stand against the darkness, not because programming demanded it, but because he'd chosen to. And that choice made all the difference.